So I had plans on going to a local Duffy's out here in West Palm Beach and, I was going to watch the Penn State and Ohio State game. And then I was going to stick around and then watch the Michigan, Oregon game and all that kind of stuff. And then I got a random text. I mean, I haven't heard from this lady in about 2 years now, about a year and a half. Her name is Miss Maria Solid. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. But Maria, she was on the show a couple of years ago. The title of her episode is Fitness Therapy. She's a trainer, and we met actually. We met when we were both part of Dre Baldwin. We were both part of his mastermind, and we connected then. And you could tell because I come from the fitness world, she's still in the fitness world. And based on some of the questions and some of the things that we were bringing to Dre in a mastermind setting and just trying to help with our businesses and stuff like that, you can tell we were kind of in alignment in terms of what we wanted to get out of the mastermind. So we recorded a podcast episode. The title of her episode is titled Fitness Therapy, right? So anyway, I get a random text from her, someone I haven't heard from in years. And she goes, "Hey, by the way, I'm not sure if you're still out here in Fort Lauderdale, because I used to live in Plantation, but I'm not sure if you're still out here, but I'm out here and we're going to be going and watching the Penn State, Ohio State game at Marina 84 and all that kind of stuff." So I'm like, Maria. And then also in the text, she was telling me about how her mother had listened to the show that we recorded over 3 years ago at this point. And we ended up talking. So I called her immediately. I'm like, all right, so give me the scenery, talk to me about where I'm going, because I'm in West Palm Beach and it'll be like close to an hour drive from Palm Beach all the way to Fort Lauderdale. And I'm like, all right, give me the scenery. Talk to me about where I'm going, because I had meant to actually meet up with her because she's in Tampa now, and I never got around to getting out to Tampa to meet up with her or whatever. But anyway, I called her. I'm like, all right, give me the scenery. Tell me what it's all about. Tell me exactly, where I'm going, what's because she was telling me about Marina 84 and that the fact that it's a Penn State bar and all that kind of stuff. So I got to thinking, I'm like, I think that would be fun. I got to thinking that it's actually worth the hour drive from Palm Beach to Fort Lauderdale, because I'm going to be around other people, other college football fans. I'm going to be around a level of energy that I want to be around. I want to be watching my college football around. Even though it is Penn State, are playing Ohio State, and it would be nice if Penn State actually won this game, right? So I made the hour drive. It lived up to everything that was in my mind. It had all the Penn State fans, the entire place. You just see navy and white. You see former players screaming at the TV. You see like generations of Penn State people. You see little kids in the bar and they're wearing their little Penn State onesies and all that kind. You see people that were there, over 3 decades of, supporting this program. I mean, the guy that you see on the thumbnail, he's choking me. I'm about to, rip my head off because of the Michigan hat I was wearing. But he played for Joe Paterno. He played with one of my favorite players, which is LeVar Arrington, who went on to become, one of the Redskins legends. And, I'm a huge Redskins fan, Commanders fan. But shout out to the Commanders, by the way. Got a dub. Always great to see the Commanders get a win in New York and stuff like that. But it was great to see the loyalty to the university. It was great to see people continuing to come together. It was great to see that community, right? So after the Penn State game, and here's how it works. So for a while now, I've been meaning to go to Fort Lauderdale because they have a huge Michigan football watch party club in Fort Lauderdale. So after the Penn State game, once the Penn State game ended, which again, I probably don't have time to get into the deal. I'll show you a clip for the end as we get into the emotional hire stuff. But after the Penn State game, I drove about 10, 15 miles more south to, what's the name of that place? It was another Michigan bar that the name is escaping me right now. Hold on, let me try. I think I still have it. Give me 1 second. It was Upper Deck. Yeah, Upper Deck. So right after that, Upper Deck in Fort Lauderdale, I've been hearing about it for a while since, they have a big, huge Michigan following. So after that, I drove out to Upper Deck and I got a chance to meet some meet new contacts. I got included in this like super fan Michigan group, stuff like that. So again, it was even in the losing, it was great to meet other like-minded people. And that was just how my Saturday was. That's just the recap of it. Again, the results weren't what I wanted personally. I wanted to see Ohio State lose all the time. But at the end of the day, even though Ohio State did have a great week, we as Michigan, we lost by 3 touchdowns. I'm going to get into the details of the game in a second, because that first touchdown should have been called. That first touchdown was ridiculous. I don't get how the Big Ten is supposed to be reviewing every scoring play, and the first touchdown is clearly a drop. And then that last one, as Michigan fans, I hope the diehard Michigan folks, I hope to God you remember that last touchdown, the whole, you're going to put one in at the end when they could have just kneeled it, and then, having all of this. Remember all of this. Remember it. Just remember it, because, okay, we'll give Oregon this year, but it's only going to be so long. This is going to be the last time, in my opinion, that Michigan is this bad. I do believe we're on the rise, given how well, I would call it well, but given the way we fought, there's a lot of pride and tradition when it comes to the Michigan Wolverines football program. And for you to put that last one in the end zone like that to make it 38-17, okay, and then you got your coach on the sideline hitting us with this and all that. Just remember all this, soak all that in, let it burn a little bit. Let it burn a little bit. So next year, when we get ourselves together, we get our offense, quarterback right, and all that good stuff, we go to Oregon and we tap some duck ass. 365 days from now. That's all I'm saying. And I'll leave it at that. At the end of the day, though, Oregon does have a squad. They got a squad. They got a squad this year. This might be their year. I would be surprised if they get their first national championship this year, based on what I saw. So that was my Saturday. All right. And it was a reminder again. And I want to repeat that. I want to make sure I emphasize that as we get into today's question and more so today's topic is, when it comes to college football, given everything that we're seeing with the transfer portal, the conference realignments, money, NIL, all that kind of stuff, I am just doing what I have to do, doing my part, doing everything I can to make it so we don't lose the essence of the game, the community that the game creates, the fellowship, the getting together, the real love and loyalty to a university, and seeing that family grow up in that culture that I was around at that Penn State bar. Again, even though I was wearing a Michigan hat, the culture I was around, the people that went there, you had, again, little babies, actual babies in Penn State onesies. It was just a beautiful, beautiful sight to see. And I'm in Florida. You're talking about Penn State people, and this is Fort Lauderdale, Florida, folks. This is not anywhere near Pennsylvania. So I can only imagine what it's like in Happy Valley and all that kind of stuff, right? So as far as the kickoff question, I'm going to put it up here for a second. All right. Emotional, did we make an all right. Let me add this banner real quick. Did we make an emotional hire? All right. This question, kickoff question for the week. Make your move Monday, kickoff question. Did we make an emotional hire? And I'm going to use the Ohio State Michigan rivalry and everything that we saw this past Saturday to really detail and ask this question, really to really give you a perspective on this question, because this is something that actually does translate very well into the working world, into the business world. Emotional and convenient hires is something that a lot of us are very programmed to do. All right. So just for you folks that may not understand the football world as well as I do, or have been involved in it as well as I do, allow me to I'm going to show you two clips. One was from last year. They're both in the same stadium, ironically, but one was from last year. when Michigan beat Penn State. Michigan beat Penn State, and it was like the day before we found out Coach Harbaugh was not going to be allowed to coach in the last 3 games. So they were on the plane, literally on the plane. This is just the way the reports came out. They're on the plane, on their way to Happy Valley, and on the like while they're going from Ann Arbor to Happy Valley or whatever it is, it became announced. They found out that Coach Harbaugh wasn't even going to be allowed. This was their head coach last year, that he wasn't even going to be allowed to coach the game. So I believe it was JJ McCarthy who started some trend on Twitter or X or whatever it is, where he just put the 3 letters bet, as in like, okay, let's go. We're in the strength of our schedule. It's getting to a point now where we got to win out. If we're going to be in the national championships, we're going to be tested. And we find out now our head coach is not allowed to actually be coaching on the sidelines. And, somebody else had to, step up, pick up the slack and all that. So, we won that game. And here was the interview after, the famous interview, in my opinion, the interview that really set the stage for a great run, one of the, if not the greatest run in Michigan football history. It was incredible. It hit me a certain way because the reason I'm a Michigan fan is because of a lot of coaches like Coach Moore. I used to, back when I was playing with the White Oak Warriors, we used to wear the Michigan uniforms, and it was a lot of black male coaches that were really, really, really emotional, were really about, giving it their all. And they remind me so much of Coach Moore. So this really drew me in. As much as I loved Michigan football before this moment, when I saw this, and I saw it live. Okay, when I saw this live, I'd actually had it. I remember because I was at a bar in Miami, and I did a Zoom call with a player that I did an NIL deal with, a former player of mine. His name is Max Temchin.